All right, today is March 11, 2021. This is a meeting of the Kubernetes Storage Special Interest Group. As a reminder, this meeting is public, recorded, and posted on YouTube. Let's go ahead and get started. So the agenda doc is linked on your calendar invite. Today we're going to go over the 121 planning spreadsheet to see which items we were able to complete in time. The latest deadline was the code freeze that just happened on March 9th. So we want to see which items were able to make it in and which items were not. The upcoming deadlines to be aware of is March 16 is the docs deadline, meaning you have to have a placeholder PR open just to say like, hey, we are in the process of preparing the docs to let the release team know. And then March 24 is when the PRs must be ready for review. And March 24th is also the test freeze. And then the 31st is when they should be ready to merge. That is when the docs should be completed. And moving forward after the code freeze, as many of you are aware, features are no longer allowed to be merged. If you have any changes that are not bug fixes, they will require a exception process. So please let us know if you need to go through that. And if you have anything else you'd like to discuss today, please feel free to add to the agenda at the bottom, and we'll get to it after the planning section. So with that, let me switch tabs and we can get started. So first item is delegate FS group to CSI driver instead of kubelet. Hemant?
Yeah, this did not get in because we could not get the CSI proposal in.
Okay, so did not make it. Next item is CSI online offline volume expansion fixes. Any updates on this one, Hemant?
We got some fixes for that PVC being deleted while resize was pending. That was merged. There's this corresponding change needed in external resizer that will merge it like this week. And then, yeah, so we did make some progress on it, but yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Hemant. Next item, recovering from resize failure.
That was a design item. We just didn't make a whole lot of progress on that item, to be honest. We're still waiting for the inline pod resizing to be kind of come to a conclusion, and that did like around 10 days back, 10, 12 days back. So we will try and work on this item this quarter.
Got it. Okay. And next item is also a design item, SE Linux recursive permission handling, Jan.
No update here.
Okay. Next item is CSI entry read-only handling, Cheng. Okay, we'll get an update on this next time. Next item is issues related to assuming volumes or mount points. Is Jing on the call? Nope. Oh, yes, Jing is on the call. Jing, do you have any updates on this?
Sorry, can you?
Yeah, the item is issues related to assuming volumes or mount points. And it looks like previous status was there are several PRs open or work in progress, and Jing is helping review.
Right. I think all the relevant PRs should be already merged.
Well, there is, so I think there was a last cycle, we merged the PR and we had to revert it because it caused a problem with the secrets teardown, right? So
After revert, it's not reopened. I forgot.
No, because we need to fix the issue with that secret teardown race first before we can
Okay,
we
I
put in
see.
the fix.
I see. Let me follow up with that PR. So
Okay, sounds good. Thank you both for the update. Next item is storage capacity tracking for pod scheduling.
That went into Kubernetes just this week before code free, so this is done. Storage capacity
There's
tracking.
there's still changes in the sidecars, right, that are still outstanding.
I was about to say that I almost completely implemented that today, and I have PRs pending for the metrics, for example, that's ready for review in the external provisioner. And the other changes that we discussed are also implemented, basically just pending review now. So that will be done soon.
Cool. Okay, thank you, Patrick. Next item is PVC inline ephemeral volumes. Last status here was PRs in review, metrics awaiting review.
That also has all been merged in time for the code freeze.
Nice.
Documentation PRs are also ready, so that's all in order, I think, for 121.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Next item is spreading over volume domains, which is just a design for the quarter. Any updates on this, Shing?
No, this is still depending on the next one. We have not finished reviewing the next one yet.
That's good. And the next item here is the volume group API.
Yeah, so we had a review meeting. I think I need to schedule another one to follow up.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you, Shing. Next item is CSI out of tree, moving iSCSI driver fit and finish, image building, testing CI/CD documentation. The last status update here was that Christian's working on it. Any updates?
We had a PR and Kubernetes test info get merged, but that's about the only progress. So the image should now be at least built and started, but we still need to test and debug any errors that are going through it. So trivial progress made.
Okay. Are all the changes here? Yeah, they're all out of tree. Okay, cool. In progress. And are we targeting still finishing this up in 122, or is it going to slip to one? Or sorry, are we targeting completing this in 121, or are we going to slip to 122?
Realistically, I expect 122.
Okay. All right. And that's Christian Huffman, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, cool. I saw a Christian Huffman in the list and a Chris H, so wanted to make sure. All right, next item is move out NFS provisioner. Last status here was, go ahead, Karen.
Right. Still need to do a little bit of a documentation update and the Helm chart update. So we can call this as work in progress.
Okay. And same question, is this planned to be wrapped up for 121, or are we gonna slip this to 122?
So I don't know the dates for 121.
121 is basically we have to have the release out by April 8.
Yeah, it should be done by that time. Yeah.
Okay. Targeting one. And then same question for the NFS client provisioner.
That's actually done.
Okay.
We made a couple of releases now. One today.
All right. Thank you very much, Karen. I'm going to mark that one as done so that we stop getting updates on that one. Next item is PVC volume snapshot namespace transfer.
Yeah, so this was a design.
Mhm.
This was a design that we were targeting this corner. We had a meeting last week, largely agreed on the overall design, but there's some edge cases that we need to examine further and also some secret handling that we need to plan accordingly. But I think we made good progress on the design and getting the ball rolling again.
My impression was that the secret handling could be a showstopper. Like, we should be worried about that.
Yes, but I think that we raised some of the valid points that we need to investigate further, but the overall how to transfer, I thought we agreed upon.
Yeah. It's a good design, but like without a solution to that problem, we're dead in the water.
And it sounds like we may need to consider this design halted until we get a solution to that. It's something that we need to examine further.
Okay. This was designed for the quarter, so we have plenty of time here. Sounds good. Thank you both for the update. And next item is the CSI volume health moving to alpha. Last status here was PR submitted, review in progress. Xing?
Yeah, so it's merged. So that's the Kubernetes side change. The remaining thing is the doc. It needs a doc PR. And then also we need to remove the volume health monitoring logic from external agent because now that is part of the kubelet.
Sounds good. Thank you, Xing. Next up is volume populator data source, Ben.
So we managed to get the API proposal approved, and most of the code is ready, but there's the out of tree code is not ready, and I'm working on that. And we have part of the agreement to approve the API was to split the KEP into two, with one separate KEP addressing how we're going to handle backwards incompatible changes to the data source handling. That one is still a little bit up in the air. The bottom line is it didn't make it for 121. We're going to aim for 122, but significant progress was made. And there's a request out for creating 2 new repos related to this project under Kubernetes CSI for the out of tree stuff.
Cool. And are we putting both parts of this into 122 or trying to get part of it into 121?
So the out of tree work, I think, could go to alpha in 121.
Okay.
Because it's just out of tree stuff. Nothing changes. But yeah, I would like to get that. I'd like to get alpha releases cut for those out of tree pieces, and then aim for everything going to beta in 122.
Got it. All right, cool. Thank you, Ben. Next item is object storage API, Csi. I was not able to attend the meeting this week. Any updates here? Is Serini on the call? Sid?
So I go to all of the Csi meetings, and they're continuing to update the design. Like we're getting, everything's getting crisper and crisper, but there's still like significant changes happening to the core parts of the API as we go over it and prune the stuff we don't need. So it's hard to guess like what the delta is from where we are to, being ready, but it certainly feels very close.
Got it.
It did miss the 121 feature freeze for the KEP merge deadline. I mean, so they are currently aiming at 122 for merging that KEP.
Cool. Cool. Sounds good. And do you know if Andrew was there this week?
Andrew Large?
Yeah.
I think he joined a couple weeks ago, but I don't think I've seen him in the last week or so. We have the meeting for that is immediately after this one in
Got
about
it.
40 minutes. So maybe he'll turn up to
Oh,
that
right.
meeting.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Ben. Next item is change block tracking. Any updates here?
No, I think we were waiting for this volume mode change thing. So I think we can probably schedule follow-up meeting on that.
Okay.
Xing, do you want to say anything about the other issue you brought up yesterday?
I added an item.
Okay, that's
Jen,
separate.
as we can talk
separate
about that
row.
at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next item is need read write once access mode. Chris, are you on the call?
Yeah. So I have a KEP pull request file that just has some of the initial sections filled out. I have a design that I think might work, and so right now I'm just prototyping it to like an end-to-end solution to see if this in fact works, and then I'm gonna reflect those changes in the KEP.
Does the end-to-end solution include a proposal to change the CSI spec too?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know actually whether or not we want. Maybe this is out of scope for this meeting to handle that as two KEPs, or one for CSI spec, one for.
Put it all in a single KEP. CSI doesn't have its own KEP.
Got it.
And once you've got it nailed down in terms of the design that we're looking for, just go and propose it to the CSI community and get the ball rolling there.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Chris. Next up is updating topology labels from beta to GA. Layla? Or is Jiawei on the line? So last status update here was GC, PD, and AWS CBS update is done. Work in progress on Azure Disk, and Jan is working on OpenStack Cinder.
Yeah, so OpenStack got merged. I think Azure did not, but the other cloud providers are there.
Got it. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, looks like we're mostly complete here. We got just Azure left. Next item is CSI Migration Core. Last status update here was metrics PR was merged. Anything new?
There's a couple of races that popped up and is under investigation. But other than that, I think the only thing remaining here is to update the sidecars with the various fixes that we've been doing and the metrics work.
Cool. Thank you, Michelle. Next item is CSI migration for Vsphere. Last update here was meeting with SIG architecture, and I think that went well. Anything new here?
Just that PR, there's a PR that is merged. Other than that, I think it's just the same.
And this is the PR for?
There is a deprecation notice.
Okay, so PR for deprecation notice is merged. And is somebody keeping an eye on adding to the release notes?
Yeah, so that should be automatically get there because it's in the release note section of that PR.
I think
so
there was action required.
Right.
That we wanted, so we'll have to do that manually.
Oh, that's manual? Oh, okay.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we can
keep an eye on that. That's fine. Okay. Next item is Azure File. Andy? Anyone have updates on Azure File?
I think the feature was the migration was turned on beta, and we have some caveats. There's a doc PR open, and we need to capture the stuff that FS group is not supported in release notes and things like that.
Okay, thank you, Haman. On the GCE side, any updates?
Yeah, I can. Yep, I'm here. Yeah, so we had been hoping to turn GCE migration on by default in 121, but last week we realized that the mechanics of plumbing through the cert for the master pod was more complicated than we thought, so we did not get that figured out in time for the code freeze. So that means it's not on by default in 121. So we're going to target turning it on by default in 122. We are still on track for having it being on in GKE 121.
Got it. Okay, thank you for that update, Matt. Next is OpenStack Cinder. Last status update, Jan's working on it. Not sure if we can hit the deadline. There are CI requirements. Jan, any updates on OpenStack?
So it is beta and it is on by default.
Nice.
Well, I'm not sure it's nice. But yeah, the agreement is it's going to be beta in the next release too, in 122, and in 123 it's going to be GA with all the others. Well, most of the others.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you, Jan. And last one is Ceph FS and Ceph RBD. I don't think we have any updates here. Next up is the items that are co-owned with other SIGs. First on this list is SIG node with ungraceful node shutdown. Go ahead.
So I checked with Jing on some of the logic when the node comes back again, that what kind of cleanup we should do. So yes, I'm going to update CAP with that information. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you, Sheng.
And I volunteered to write the CSI spec change proposal to enable this.
Yeah, I'll sync up with you.
Just don't know when I'm going to do that.
Oh yeah, we'll figure out later.
Sounds good. Thank you both. Next item is also with SIG node, enabling user namespace in kubelet so that UIDs get shifted. Any updates on this one?
No, actually, I haven't kept track in this quarter for this, last 2 weeks.
Okay, sounds good. Let's mark it as no update and might end up slipping this. Immutable secrets is done. Next item is address issues. PVC created by stateful set will be auto removed 55045. Last status update, Matt's actively working on this. Matt, any updates on this?
Yeah, I missed the code freeze, but the changes are in review, so I filed an exception. Fingers crossed.
Okay, sounds good. If you can ping that to me offline, I can help +1 it and maybe Shing as well.
Cool, thank you.
No problem. Next item is volume expansion for stateful sets. This is with SIG apps. Last few cycles, we didn't have any new updates here. I'm guessing no updates here from anyone?
Yeah, no update. KK, I don't know if he's still working on. If not, we might even need a new owner actually.
Okay. owner for this. Okay, so we'll probably end up moving that one to 122. Next item is execution hook. Any updates on this one, Xing?
Yeah, so Shangchen updated the cap to address some of the review comments from API reviewers. So I think we need to pin them to get it reviewed again. Yeah, that's it.
Cool, sounds good. Thank you, Xing. Next item is SIG architecture getting mount split into new repos. Serini, I don't think is on the call. Last status update here with C Advisor has been moved, has moved to Moby library for mount, have a PR hold on it. Once they merge, we'll update. Does anyone know if we got that in time for 121? Okay, I'll mark that as no update for now, and then we'll get an update hopefully next time. Next item is with SIG scheduling, prioritization on volume capacity. Looks like PR was out and in review last cycle. Did it make it? Beyond, do you happen to have an update on this one?
No.
Okay.
I think Michelle says this one is out, right, Michelle? Or I think Michelle is reviewing this.
Okay.
This one,
this one, it's merged.
Oh, it's merged.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this the one that's related to the CSI spec change to get biggest possible volume, or is this different?
No.
Okay.
No, this is different.
I see they removed this from that tracking sheet. So
yeah,
get it back.
we clarified and they added it back.
Oh, okay. Cool.
All right, next up is user ID ownership in config maps and secrets. Jawei is not here. Unless someone else has an update, I'm going to mark this as no update. This was designed for the quarter, so. Okay, let's go ahead and switch back to the agenda doc. Only item that we have on the agenda is different volume modes between source and target PVCs. Xing, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, are you sharing that? So you're seeing the spreadsheet?
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, right now, if you are doing a cloning, if you create a PVC from another PVC as a source, at that time we're actually checking the volume mode. We don't allow you to proceed if there is a mismatch. But if the source is a snapshot, there is actually a way to change the volume mode. So you can you create a PVC with the fastest mode first, take snapshot, and then you create a new PVC with the block mode, use the snapshot as the source. So that works, or the other way around. And this is actually important use case is for backup software to use change block tracking to do efficient backups. However, we discovered, well, actually Yang discovered there's a potential security issue that if there are some kernel bugs, then if user mount this as a block mode, he could have some corrupted file system there, and then if you mount it as file system again, it could crash the node. So I just want to clarify that right now. Currently, there are no existing CVEs. So yeah, currently everything's fixed, right? So this is just an area Yang pointed out. There's a possibility in the future if there are some issues, then we could run into this problem. So we need to figure out a way somehow to control this with some permissions. So this way, backup software can still do this conversion because this is a valid use case, but then we don't want to let malicious user to exploit this potential problem. Yeah, so this is mainly the issue.
What was the feedback from SIG security on this?
So SIG security, they are saying, yeah, this is it's good to try to solve this, but right now this is not really since there are no real vulnerability, no current CVEs from the kernel side. So this is not really how do you say it? So that's why we actually discussed this in public, right? So it's not really something that we that's like a high priority we have to fix right away, but definitely this is something that we should try to prevent any potential problem in the future. So they're saying just, yeah, so it's good to discuss and figure out a solution. So the suggestion they are talking about is they talked about have a admissions control that make a subject access review for some RBAC permission. So if PVC, if the PVC being created from a volume snapshot source has the mismatched volume mode, then we check the specific permission. I think right now we just need to figure out the details on how to do that. So I'm still looking at it. I mean, I don't have a concrete proposal yet.
But it will definitely require a Kubernetes API change, right?
Like
a new alpha field on the snapshot?
So for snapshot, yeah. So for snapshot, right? So I'm not sure for PVC, but for snapshot, we need to save the volume mode somewhere. So this way we can compare when we are creating the PVC from the volume snapshot, we need to compare that mode. So currently that's not there. So that would be a new alpha field. So that's just right now, of course, since we don't have the whole solution yet, so it's not like that's definitely is going to happen. But if we are going to check this, then we do need to have that information somehow in the volume snapshot. I don't see a way to do without that.
Yeah, I agree.
That will be like this will be like a new alpha feature basically, going through that. And of course, the need to have corresponding CSI changes, and possibly we also want to add a CSI capability so that CSI driver can tell us whether they can support the conversion or not. Because right now we don't have that. Actually, some drivers can support this, but not every driver can support this conversion actually. So for some drivers, when you create a PVC with a snapshot, if the mode is mismatched, it's going to fail at the create time. But so if there's a capability, that will be better.
How would the permission checking work?
So that we still need to figure out. I mean, you're talking about like the admissions controller,
right?
How to check? Yeah, so I still need to figure out how to do that. So I'm still checking the suggestion, because this is like they're talking about create this permission, persistent volume claims dot restore, but I'm not sure how to create that type of permission, because I see that we usually we just assign rows to, we usually look at a resource level or a sub-resource. So I'm not quite sure if we just say this is a rule on create, it doesn't make sense. It's not really just a create.
I feel like you need something analogous to a pod security policy, like a volume security policy.
It's possible, but that also I think will require some change to PVC spec. If we do that, I think.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know if you can do it purely through the RBAC system, because the RBAC system is about like which verbs Kube API server will let you execute on which resources, but not like fine-grained control over which fields you can do stuff to.
Okay, thank you for the update on this. And yeah, let's keep an eye on this design, keep moving it forward. We'll add it to the 122 tracking spreadsheet.
Okay.
So just a quick question, is possible to change from file to block or block to file?
Volume mode, you can change the volume mode, but not, okay. So if are you talking about create PVC from a PVC? Are you talking about what?
Right, the second part, ability to change from file to block or vice versa.
So right now in external provisioner, we have a check to block it if you are trying to create a PVC for another PVC, but your volume mode does not match. We don't have such a check for create volume from Snapshot because Snapshot does not have this information.
Yeah, I mean, if it goes through, is that even possible? Like,
yeah, we could check that, but we don't want to block that for everybody, right? That's the thing. That's the tricky part. We want to allow it for like backup vendors or someone who actually need to leverage this conversion to do something.
And to answer your question, Jing, yes, it is possible. Basically, it means that somebody is taking responsibility of the raw block rather than continuing to give it to a file system. So the use case that Xing is mentioning is you have a backup vendor who wants to take a backup of a snapshot. So they don't care about the file system. They're more interested in the raw blocks.
So they can restore.
Yeah, so the underlying storage system has to be a block though, right? So
right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can mount, basically you have this two. Yeah, so it has to be able to support both for the conversion to work. But even if it supports both mode, you may not be able to create a volume from snapshot that has a different mode, depending on the driver. Like for example, the Csi host path driver, it's going to fail when you create a volume from a snapshot with different mode, right? But of course, that's not really a production level driver anyway. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns about this topic? All right, and anything else anybody wants to discuss at the meeting today? All right, if there's nothing else, we'll end early and give you about 18 minutes back in your day. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Saad.
Take care.